In the entire history of mankind, no technology has seen faster adoption than AI. Brands, governments, entrepreneurs, individuals, they're all scrambling to figure out this new world. One person has been following it closely for some time, and his name is Matt Wolfe. Today, we welcome Matt to the show to jump into a future that might be the present by the time you hear this episode of the Bad Crypto Podcast, which happens to be episode number 684. Also, you should know.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
Welcome to the Bad Crypto Podcast, the show for the crypto curious and the crypto serious. I am back from an extended European vacation. We had a couple best of episodes in there, which we hope you enjoyed, but this is fresh content now, Sir Lord Travis.
They say you need to make more content, so here's some effing content.
It's fresh.
I just think there should be a new show called Welcome to Content. This is content.
I am content with that content. I'm really content that we finally got Matt Wolfe to join us. Now, look, we have this other show called the Bad AI Show, but Matt is such a leader is a journalist in covering the AI space, and there's definitely overlaps into crypto and NFTs and blockchain that we really wanted to bring it to you here on this show. Smart dude, kind dude.
Very open. Very rarely do you see or meet someone who you're like, normally when they do something cool, they figure it out. And I see this all the time, like on Reddit or even on Twitter, where somebody creates something badass but then they don't share how they did it. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, asshole, why don't you show us how you did it? Dude, it's not rocket science. We just want to know. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to tell you my secret super prompts because I'm not doing it. Dick. But Matt Wolfe, he's the exact opposite of that, dude. You message him, be like, hey, bro. He didn't even know me from Adam whenever I first messaged him months ago. And I was like, hey, bro, dude, you did this thing. It's so cool. How'd you do that? And he's like, oh, well, you did like this and this and that. I was like, what? He even gave me a link to, here's a video tutorial on how to do that. I was like, what? Dude, the dude's so open and awesome and friendly that it was just such a joy to even interact with the dude. And now we had him on the show. It was really cool.
You might say he's so open that Matt Wolfe is open AI, sort of, kind of. In a way. So you guys are going to want to stick around, because after the interview, we're going to tell you how you can get Matt Wolfe's inaugural Bad Crypto NFT. I don't think he's minted an NFT yet, and we've got one to go along with this episode.
It might be the first Matt Wolfe NFT ever. Is that what you're saying?
It might be. So we're going to tell you how to get that on the other side of this interview with Mr. Matt Wolfe. And you're like, hey guys, this is Bad Crypto, right? What's with the AI stuff today? Well, you know that Trav and I are on the cutting edge of technology, and we've got our other show, the Bad AI Podcast, but sometimes we feel like, hey, the content we've got is so spectacular, we want to make it front and center to you here in the Republic of Bad Cryptopia. And as we're talking about AI, we're excited to welcome to the show today Mr. Matt Wolfe, who has found himself, just because of his fascination with the AI space, with quite a significant audience. He's tracking the space on his YouTube channel at Matt Wolfe, and with his website, futuretools.io. Matt, welcome to the Bad Crypto Podcast, good sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Not every day I get to chat with a sir and a lord, so excited to be here.
How about a sir lord? Because we're actually both.
Oh, sorry. No, no disrespect.
Get it right, Matt Wolfe. We demand respect. You have not used the proper pronouns or titles.
Travis likes to be referred to as Zer Lord.
No, sorry, Sir Lord.
Actually, what's your whole title, Trav?
I don't even remember at this point.
It was,
but it because we've actually started out being lords because we got some land in Scotland.
Yeah.
Then Sealand decided to knight us.
Yeah.
And so they knighted us, then made us sir lords. But what was really funny was some dude I was having a conversation with. He's like, He's from England. He's like, "Sir Lord, it's impossible. You can't be both." I was like, "What do you mean you can't be both?" He's like, "Cause one supersedes the other one." It's like, I'm a director, but I'm the CEO also. It don't make sense, mate. Like I'm a manager and I'm the director. No, you're one of the other.
Well, no,
like,
wait a second.
okay.
You could be CEO and president. I'm CEO and president of my company. So
Yeah, but you can't be CEO and manager.
stuff it, British guy. That's what I say. All I
This is
know
a
is
bad title podcast here, I guess.
part of Travis's title is well earned. He is the most high. So
That is true.
so Matt,
Dude, there's some site called the United Church something. I don't even know. It's Universal something. I don't even remember. You can get the most ridiculous titles of all time. So I think, Matt, you need to go get like the super AI guy.
Yeah, I should. I'll look into that for sure.
just ask ChatGPT to write the most ridiculous, title you can. So, we found ourselves in the crypto space back in 2017 and decided to start a show because we were fascinated with it. You found yourself in the AI space. How did that come about? Because you were doing videos on technology in general.
Yeah, so I started creating content in 2009. My YouTube channel I started in 09, and it was all just tech stuff. It was just anything I was interested in for years and years and years. It was mostly about WordPress and WordPress plugins and how to do Facebook ads and just anything digital marketing was really the place that I played in. And then last year in 2022, I started to get into crypto. I started to get into NFTs. Those were the rabbit holes I started to travel down a little bit because, again, anything sort of tech, anything new, anything sort of cutting edge is what I was into. And then somewhere around mid 2022, I really, really started to go down the AI rabbit hole. I came across some videos of people that were sort of changing their face and putting them on cartoons and, face swapping. And then I started to learn about ChatGPT when that came out. And so it's always been me making videos about the nerdy tech latest thing that I'm excited about. But in mid 2022, when the AI stuff started to pick up in the mainstream, I had already kind of put a few videos on my YouTube channel about AI. People discovered them. One of my videos ended up hitting 1.1 million views because it was just right time, right place. The stars aligned. And one of my AI videos just sort of exploded. And I went, I should kind of do more of this. And so ever since then, I've just stuck on creating AI content because that's what's continued to work, honestly.
Yeah, I love that. And then, through that discovery of your content, you go out and you see the things that you've been putting together around future tools, which I was thinking about this. I was like, oh man, like these. And then I saw what you were doing. I was like, yeah, great. I don't need to do that. Okay, perfect. Because here it already is. There's no need for me to try to recreate any wheel. And this platform right here. So this is where I think a lot of folks are going to get some value. Not only from your expertise and exploring this stuff, but like what you've compiled here, I think is really fun because if anytime you're bored, you're like, I got nothing to do. I'm just going to waste some time. Like, no, go on Future Tools and start playing around with some stuff. You're going to find some really cool tools. I think there was like maybe 300 something tools there when I first saw it. And now what are you up to? 1,700.
Yeah.
Where are you finding these, bro?
It's crazy. So this site actually started because as I was coming across cool tools, I was just tossing them into a Google Sheet. I literally had a Google Sheet on my computer. It was bookmarked. And whenever I'd come across a cool AI tool, I would just toss it in there. So I originally, I had Midjourney and I had GPT-3 in there and I had Stable Diffusion and a few like Google collabs that I came across that I thought were cool. But the spreadsheet, as AI started to pick up steam, I was adding so much stuff to the spreadsheet that it was getting hard to find anything in the spreadsheet. So I actually made this website with a site called Webflow because it had sort of filters and sorting. And so I literally built this site for myself so that I could sort of filter down to the exact tool that I was looking for. And I didn't have to sort of hunt a spreadsheet that I made. That's sort of how this started. I took this site, I gave the URL on Twitter. I went, hey, this is something I've been working on. It's just something I've been screwing around playing with. And Twitter just exploded it for me. Robert Scoble took it. He retweeted it. A bunch of other people in the AI space started retweeting it. Next thing I know, my tweet about this little tool that I made in like 5 hours had been spread across Twitter and seen by hundreds of thousands of people. So that's kind of how that started. But to answer the question of where I'm finding all these tools, I mean, it's just pure immersion, right? I'm sort of on all the AI newsletters. I'm on Twitter all the time, seeing all this stuff. There's a submission form now, so I get about 50 to 100 submissions every single day, depending on how wild things are moving in the AI space. So it's just a combination of just total immersion and people submitting stuff to me like crazy.
That's funny. It's that's kind of the Yahoo story. When David Filo and Jerry Yang started Yahoo, it was because they needed a directory for their friends to be able to look at all the sites they were compiling. And you get bonus points, Matt, if you know what Yahoo was an acronym for.
I don't.
Ooh, I got it. I think I'm close.
Okay.
Yet another hierarchical something.
Yet another hierarchically organized oracle is what Yahoo. So you have learned well, Grasshopper. So
yeah, in the early days, I was a web crawler guy. So
yeah. So ChatGPT has been amazing to watch what's happened with AI. ChatGPT hit 1 million users in 5 days. Like nothing has ever crossed that million mark. It took how long did it take Instagram to do it? Like
months,
10 months or something like that to get there. Spotify hit 1 million in 5 months. It took Netflix 3.5 years to hit 1 million. And I've got a link to an article in the show notes that you guys can check out about this. What do you think this means to society in general, that AI has found adoption so quickly?
I mean, honestly, I think it's making a lot of lives easier. I'm constantly in the mix of it, right? And I hear all these stories of like doom and gloom and everybody worried about it taking their jobs and all of that kind of stuff. And I do think it is going to make some jobs obsolete, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think it's going to make all the jobs that nobody wants to do obsolete. But I think it's going to make a lot of jobs easier. Some of the biggest complaints I've seen about AI have come from the artist community and the game developer community and some of these communities that have always been sort of like high skill communities. But also the biggest praise that I've seen coming about from AI has come from the people that are the artists in the artist community and the people that are the game developers, right? The people that are sort of embracing it and learning how to use AI to sort of give them these extra superpowers are the ones that are really, really thriving from it. I know a lot of AI artists, or a lot of artists that started to implement AI into their art. And those specific artists are the ones that are exploding on Twitter right now. They're exploding on YouTube right now. They're exploding on Instagram right now. A lot of the game developers that are starting to implement it are, some of the most anticipated games. I just heard that Grand Theft Auto 6, they had like the police officers. Originally, they built their own like AI for these police officers. And they decided, after seeing the event that Jensen Huang spoke at not too long ago in Taiwan, where he showed off this sort of this character that the dialogue would be unique every single time you talk to him because it's using AI behind the scenes. Well, Grand Theft Auto 6 went and decided, we're going to scrap our AI system and just implement that. So now when you go and talk to a police officer in GTA 6, it's going to be a complete unique conversation. Nobody's going to have the same experience ever when playing Grand Theft Auto 6 because the conversations are going to be generated on the fly.
I can't wait. That's going to be amazing.
It's exciting. And I actually, I interviewed the founder of the tool that built that, Convey, and he gave me a walkthrough of it. And I actually have an early demo of the software on my computer, and I've played around with it a little bit. And it's mind-blowing what's coming with it. So I tend to take the more optimistic, abundant philosophy on it, that I think this is a good thing for society. I think a lot of bad actors will use it. Don't get me wrong. I think we will see a lot of scams and spammers and more of those stories where people are spoofing other people's voices and calling loved ones and family members to try to get money out of them. I think we're only going to hear more and more of those stories. But from a business standpoint, I think it's a overall plus, honestly.
That's really fascinating to kind of think about that with the police. Actually, they're no longer really NPCs, they're NPC GPTs, and you can interact with them. But what everyone wants to know is, like, are you going to be able to communicate with the hookers? Because that's what's really important. That is
Yeah.
what everyone truly wants to know. I mean, it's so crazy. And I want to touch base on something you said earlier. It seems to me like AI can augment us in a way to it's almost like having the best brainstorm buddy of all time or a best super assistant, because it's like, I think faster than I can do. And then it's like, oh, I got to do this step here. And then I got to do that. And then by the time I get to that next step, I'm like, I'm done. But with this, it's like, yeah, I do this, boom, it's done. Wow. Now I go to the next step. It's like I've never felt more creative now than I am, and more organized, because I can take these learnings and these things that I've built, these ideas, churn them out in a way that you could never do previously.
Yeah, 100%. Me personally, I've never felt like I've had skill in things like art. But now I can go into Midjourney and people are blown away by the stuff that I create, right? I make really sort of unique thumbnails for my YouTube channel that stand out.
Your thumbnails are freaking badass. Like, I've been sitting there going like, how in the hell does this dude do? And then, because I could never get the face right, and I assume you're doing that in Stable Diffusion, right?
Yep. Stable Diffusion is there's a tool called Dream Booth where you can train your face into Dream Booth and then use Stable Diffusion and replace other people's faces with your face. And so I've actually made tutorials on exactly how I do that, but I've never had that sort of artistic skill. And using AI, it's enabled me to do stuff that I never thought I would have the skill to do. I built a video game. I have a video game that I created. It's like a platformer game where you jump from platform to platform and there's lava below and you try to collect as many coins as you can without falling in the lava. And I've never coded in my life. And I have a whole game with pretty decent graphics that all coded. You can get online. You can play it right now. I made it available for anybody to play. I put the code on GitHub, and after I put the code on GitHub, it started getting forked and people started making alternate versions of this game. And to this day, I don't know how to code. Like, I have no idea how the thing's running behind the scenes.
This is why, learn to code is no longer a mantra to speak to people who lost their job flipping burgers or baristaing at Starbucks. It's got to be learn to prompt, because these are the people that are going to make money. Now, while you were doing that, I went to ChatGPT.
Let me add to that, Joel. That might not even be the case, because with some of these super prompt generators, it's like, I watched this one video that Matt had done of like, here's how to create the best prompt. So you can think you're going to say a good little prompt, but you can use ChatGPT to create so much better prompts. It's unbelievable.
So maybe it's learn to sit back and let the bots do everything for you. And just take your government check, shut up, and eat bugs and like it. I don't know. I went to ChatGPT and I told it to write a pompous title for Matt Wolfe, a YouTuber who creates content in technology and AI space. And this is what it came up with. The supreme technological oracle, Matt Wolfe, the unrivaled guru of AI marvels, guardian of the digital frontier, and commander of the techno-savvy realm.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rebrand my YouTube channel to that, actually.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
There's actually a whole bunch of those. So
swap up your Twitter bio.
Right. As we're looking at future tools, let's just pick out a few things that we can look at that's really caught your attention lately. And I want to let's show off something without me ever having seen this tool before. What should we look at?
Let's see. So if you click on any one of those buttons there, it'll filter it down by that style. I think some of the most impressive stuff on here is some of the generative video stuff that you can just type prompts and it'll generate video. There's some really killer text to speech stuff now. I don't know if you guys have played around with 11 Labs at all.
Yes.
11 Labs is pretty mind blowing. You can train your own voice into it. You can train anybody's voice into it. There's obviously some ethical issues that can arise from that, but I did make a video where I trained Owen Wilson's voice in there and made a sort of mock Wes Anderson film. That one's pretty mind blowing. But
which is model, for example, I'm looking here at Model Scope, text to video. Does that work pretty good? If I just type in text, it'll make a video for me of that text.
That one will work decently. I don't know how fast it is. A lot of the text to video generation is still fairly slow, but Model Scope text to video, if you're familiar with Gen 2 from Runway ML, that's also a text to video tool. Basically,
great
what that
video, by the way,
does,
where you were snapping the other day. I just watched that last night. That's
yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was done with actually Gen 1, which is a video to video. So Gen
Yeah,
1 is
yeah.
video to video. You
Okay.
upload a video, you give it a prompt, and it will change the video to look like the prompt you give it. Gen 2 is pure text to video. You type whatever you want, it'll generate a video based on that text prompt. So, but what that model scope is that you were just looking at, it's similar to what Gen 2 does, where you can type any text prompt and it'll make a video. The problem with most text to video right now is it only generates between 3 and 4 second videos. So the video is almost too short to even get excited about what you're seeing, because it's usually just like a little blip on the screen real quick of whatever you generated. And also that model scope, all of the data that's in there was trained on Shutterstock data. So all of it has a Shutterstock watermark across it.
Yeah, I got a question for you around this, because I saw your summary of the Apple event, right?
Yeah.
And we were all watching that. I know Joel and I have been talking about this for years. I was like, dude, when Apple comes out with an AR device, this is going to change the game. Now, I really wasn't expecting ski goggles, because you can't really walk around in ski goggles and look cool. I was kind of expecting it when the form factor gets a little bit smaller, so we can actually, look through them, and you got lenses, and your lenses can do stuff. I think that this seems really ridiculous. And one of the things I was talking to Joel about was, how cool will it be when we are able to use generative AI to command exactly the environment we want to be sitting in right now? It seems to me that games are on the precipice of changing in a way that most people could never even comprehend, when you can say, I want to sit in a beautiful field in Switzerland. I want to see the Alps in the background, and I want there to be a big lake right here and a river, and give me a palm tree for no reason. And like you're going to be able to sit in these worlds that you just concocted. Dude, it makes me think, bro. It really makes me think that we probably are living in some sort of simulation where we are this synthetic bio algorithm of some sort, that's some advanced OG, because we can create stuff like this now, dude. And like, and we've only been in the Industrial Revolution for 250 years. Like, what? Like,
it's getting crazy. In fact, when you just said that, it reminded me of another tool that I don't know if you guys have tried. Have you seen Blockade Labs yet?
What's the
So
website?
Blockade Labs is a text to 3D environment. So you prompt anything you want. So what you were just saying, you want to be in a field with trees and flowers or whatever, you prompt it, it will prompt a 360-degree thing that you can actually like move around and look around in, and it's free to use.
Like,
you can get on there and play with
Quest
it right
or
now.
Something? You can get in there and look at it?
Yeah, you can export it and pull it into a Meta Quest if you wanted to. Yeah. You can import it into Unreal Engine, use it as your 3D environment in a video game. It works really, really good. You can type any prompt you want, and it will just generate that landscape.
Oh my, Trav, give me let's dream up something right now. Give me a world. I'll type it in.
Okay, so we want an island world.
Yeah.
Can you put creatures inside of it, or is it just only the environment?
You could try. I don't know how well it's going to generate the creatures, because it's more meant to be the sort of scenery that you then put 3D objects into.
Okay, maybe let's do like a pirate scene or some sort of like an island pirate treasure hunt or something.
I just did an island in space. Let's see.
A space island.
Yeah, space islands sound really cool. And just checking back here, it's I queued up here in model scope a cute Yorkie poo playing in the grass, and I'm number 4 in the queue, so I'm going to keep my eye on that.
Is that where Rufus is? Is he a Yorkie poo?
Yeah, he's a Yorkie poo. Yeah, nice. When we rescued Rufus, we thought he was a what do you call him, a schnauzer, and there's no schna in him at all. Okay, there it is. There is our island in space that it just created for us.
Yeah, there's a little drop down right next to the generate button too, where you could sort of change up the style of what you're going for as well.
Oh, so if I want to make it a manga, I can do that. I can change it to dreamlike, cyberpunk, sci-fi, fantasy lands. Let's do anime art style, and that'll just take.
We're already there. We just don't have it where it's instantaneous, where we can see it. But I mean, with that new Apple, what I like to call the iSight Pro, I should have called it. They totally missed it. It could have been iSight, and that'd have been perfect. But this thing looks phenomenal. Like, this has nothing to do with crypto at all. But I mean, just the new era of spatial computing and some of the things that's going on in this space, even with like what Versus is doing and Versus.ai, and how they're kind of putting everything in its own little operating system, and everything has its own object, has its own thing. Like, we are entering into such a unique phase in humanity that's like unlike anything that you can compare it to, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anybody that claims they know where this is all going actually knows where it's all going, because so far it's like people say, "Hey, we're going to see this in 2 years," and then 2 months later we see the thing that they were predicting. Everything just seems to be accelerating, and the pace at which all of this is happening is just blowing my mind. Honestly, it's like some of this text to video stuff. I didn't think we would see it nearly as quick as we're seeing it.
There you go. There's the 2-second video of a Yorkie poo. Looks more like a Yorkie.
With one eye.
Less like a poo. I don't see any poo there, but he's in the grass, and this is all just AI generated. That dog doesn't exist. There he is. Are you familiar? Have we talked all offline about Versus yet, Matt?
I've heard of Versus. I don't know a whole lot about it, honestly.
So I had an opportunity to speak with Dan Mapes, who wrote the book on it and has been working on this technology and waiting for the right time for well over a decade. This is the next evolution of the web, and the standards board, or was it the IEEE something or other that decides what the web protocols are going to be that are uniform? They've already given the thumbs up on this. This is going to be rolling out, and it is what they call the spatial web. And I would encourage you and anybody who's interested in where the internet is going to go to versus.ai and read about this. They actually just released a major industry report that solves the global AI governance problem due to how this their open platform decentralizes and democratizes everything. And you can actually go to the website of Versus AI, look for this press release that was done with Dentons US. Dentons is the world's largest law firm, I believe, that deals with technology. And so it's kind of a big deal. And I think that, if we keep an eye on that, we might be ahead of the curve on what's coming next.
Yeah. So is spatial web the sort of rebranding of the word metaverse?
Spatial web
Probably
is
be.
yeah, it really is. The spatial web is, we've been talking about the Internet of Things and what that's going to be like, with everything being interconnected for years. But, devices don't necessarily talk to one another. If you're in the, like the Philips ecosystem, you can control all your home devices from one app. But that doesn't necessarily talk to the LG stuff. And the spatial web is going to give ID to everything, where it becomes completely interoperable and yet democratized and private. And I wish I could say I fully understand it. We're going to have Dan Mapes on a future episode of Bad Crypto to talk about this, because it's mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like, metaverse was the big term of 2022, but then I feel like Facebook kind of killed it. Facebook turned it into like a term your grandpa uses kind of thing, and now nobody wants to say metaverse. I just went to the Augmented World Expo a couple weeks ago in Santa Clara, and the entire time nobody mentioned the word metaverse once, and the whole thing was about AR and VR and mixed reality, and the word metaverse wasn't brought up once, except for, ironically, right? Like nobody was using that term anymore in that space at all. And I think a lot of that has to do with Facebook's rebrand, and then nobody wanting to use that term anymore. But I still think that there's a metaverse coming. I just don't think it's what a lot of people thought the metaverse was going to be a couple of years ago. I think it's less of the Ready Player One, where everybody is sort of all grouped together and you can bump into random people anywhere at any time. And because that, to me, it feels kind of awkward, right? I have a Meta Quest. I've gotten into the Meta Horizon thing. I've played these video games, and I wander around and bump into random people. And to me, that it's awkward. It feels uncomfortable to be like running into random people all over the place. I think what Apple's version of it is, it's more, the metaverse is you sort of joining your family members, joining your friends. I can have somebody sitting across from me in the room that lives in New Zealand, that lives in Puerto Rico, that lives, wherever, but we feel like we're in the same room having a conversation, or, playing, Cards Against Humanity against each other in virtual reality. I think that's more where the metaverse is going to go. And I think it's also more what like the general population would want from a metaverse. But I don't know. You guys have been in that world deeper than I have, so you probably have opinions on it.
Well, even when you look at it, and you think about, oh, the metaverse is so huge, and then you're like, wait a second, I read that Decentraland has like on average 38 daily active users or some crazy like that. So it's like, it's almost like it was kind of forced upon us. It seemed like it's like, no, you're gonna love the metaverse. Here it is, and so I think as a by proxy, it kind of damaged the term Web3. And it's like, as Web3 is really, it's like, here is this new tech. We're kind of really in Web 2.5 right now. It's not quite to Web3. Maybe that new Web3 is this sort of spatial technology land. What is that term, Joel? I was looking for it. I can't find it, but it's like, it's not AI. They have another term that's AI. That's like, but it's similar to artificial intelligence, but it's some other term. I was looking for it. I can't find it, because it's a really interesting way to sort of look at sort of it's not augmented, it's something else. I don't know.
Did you ask ChatGPT? Because they might know.
I did not ask that, but I probably should. I was literally searching on it because I saw it on versus.com before, but then they've changed their website, so I don't see that term they were saying before. But anyways, it is really fascinating, this world and where we're headed, and this sort of merger of all of these things into one. And I think you do such a great job of just like, because it's like you're kind of like us, where we've always said with crypto, we're not experts. We are going to explore this stuff and then teach you along the way. And I think you've done a really great job of capturing the soul and spirit of this all. And you're like, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to create a course. I'm just going to show you. And that's what I love about what you do, dude, is that most people don't open up the kimono like you do and say, oh, here's exactly how I asked you on Twitter one day. I said, hey, dude, I suck at OBS. How do I make myself in a circle? And you're like, oh, you need to do. Yeah. I was like, dude, thanks, bro. And now I figured out how to make myself in a little hexagon, and I'm getting better at OBS. So it's like, I appreciate it. You're so open, man, and not a lot of people are.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be. I've never. I mean, it's probably partially imposter syndrome, but I've never really felt like an expert in any of the stuff I do. I feel like I'm just kind of learning it with everybody else. I'm not a machine learning engineer. I'm not somebody who has built any of this AI stuff myself. I'm not a coder. I'm not, I've gotten better at crafting prompts in ChatGPT, but I don't know how a lot of this stuff runs behind the scenes. I'll do interviews with people who are developing these models, and half the conversation is over my head. I'll go and listen to the interview back and type into ChatGPT, what does this mean after I did the interview? Because half the words they use, I don't know.
That's the story of our lives. And you're not an imposter at all. I mean, you're fascinated with the space, you're covering it, and people depend upon real people that are engaged. That's one of the reasons that Bad Crypto took off, is we didn't come in and say, hey, we're experts, we're pointy heads, we get this, we're curious. Are you curious? Are you crypto curious? Come with us and let's discover together. And that's real, because the world needs ombudsmen, right? It needs shepherds. We're the Sherpa Derpas. We love bringing people on the journey and introducing them to this. So you told me before we started the interview that you dabbled with NFTs a little bit. You haven't gone too deep into it, but I'm curious, what did you dabble in? What caught your attention?
So most of what caught my attention, I've always been a gamer, and what caught my attention was most of the metaverse gaming NFT stuff. There was a wave there where I was really, really into Solana NFTs. I thought a lot of the gaming world was going to be Solana. I liked the transaction fees. I liked the experience of using Phantom. There was some issues with Solana. I don't even remember the whole story, but didn't they have something to do with
FTX?
FTX, yeah. So they were involved with FTX, and that sort of hurt Solana quite a bit. But I was really into the gaming space. There was a game that was coming out called Synergy Lands that I was an investor in. There was, I was playing with Illuvium and Star Atlas and Phantom Galaxies, and there's a lot of games coming out that really got me excited. That was more the world that I played in. I had some NFTs that have some utility. I think actually one of the first NFTs I had was the Blockchain Heroes NFTs that Joel sent me and my co-host Joe. That was one of our first entries into the NFT world, and I still hold all of those as well. So I still have those.
There's Joel and I back there. There's our little NFT where I was fighting Sooth and Sayer. There we are.
Yeah. So I've got those NFTs.
which I'll release this little tidbit for the first time to
Mhm.
those who are paying attention. There may be a Blockchain Heroes game on the way. Anyhow,
Mm.
that's all I'll say
By,
about
by the
that.
way, by the way, I realize what the term is. It's active inference. So it's
Mm.
like artificial intelligence versus active inference. And I did use ChatGPT, and it says active inference is a theoretical framework that is used in the fields of neuroscience, cognitive science, and AI. It is based on the premise that living organisms, including humans and by extensions AI systems, act to minimize the difference between their expectations and sensory input. In other words, they act to reduce the uncertainty about their environment based on their internal model of the world. So it's like that's kind of what Versus is it's using active inference where it's that framework for things versus just artificial intelligence, which can be all these large language models or any of these other things that's doing. It's sort of the framework behind it all,
Mhm.
which is one of the terms that they use, but I couldn't find it on their website.
And it's still AI is an acronym, so so you
Yeah,
can still say
that's
AI
true.
and be like, no, I didn't mean artificial intelligence. I mean active inference.
Matt, if you
Clearly.
want to
Oh.
if you want to use this one instead, you can. The astounding cyberspace savant, prodigy of technological exploits, virtuoso of AI's delights, and grand poobah of digital discovery.
Yeah, that one's got a better ring to it. I think I like that one better.
Grand Poop AI.
It rolls off the tongue better.
So, do you are you like us? Do you just kind of roll with it, and whatever happens, whatever opportunities open up, you explore, or do you have like a master plan for what you want to do and where you're going?
I would say it's sort of somewhere in between, right? I sort of roll with it on a daily basis. As far as like longer term, I kind of know where I want to end up. Future tools. It is something that in the future I see probably exiting. When I built it, I didn't, right? It was just a
Mm.
sort of weekend project, but I've actually already had people reach out, ask if I'd be interested in selling it. So
Yeah.
now it sort of is in the back of my mind that maybe I'll, 2 years from now, that will be sort of my retirement if I do decide to sell it.
Mhm.
But I love just creating content, right? I love finding new. I'm a gadget guy. I buy every gadget that comes out. I've got drones. I've got VR headsets. I've got AR headsets. I buy everything, right? I'm going to get an Apple Vision Pro. And so I think over time, my channel on YouTube may sort of evolve into more tech with an AI leaning focus. But, I sort of aspire to be like a Marquez Brownlee, sort
Well,
of crossed with Corridor Crew. Like that's sort of my vision
Oh,
for where I
nice,
want to take the
nice. I
have you
love
channel.
ever thought of writing a book? It seems to me if you have already, you may have. I don't know. Have you written a book?
I wrote a
ChatGPT
book on
wrote 3 of them
WordPress.
for him already.
Yeah, I wrote a book on WordPress years and years and years ago.
Nice.
But that was before I had AI to assist me with writing a book.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
it seems like you're the guy who could probably, with the popularity of the site and the offers that you're already getting, you could probably become an
Mhm.
even more powerful voice in the AI space with a book.
yeah, definitely something that I've thought about it. In fact, the angle I'd probably approach it as is there was this really good book in the marketing world of called, oh shoot, what's it called? But it was by this guy Joel Comm, and it was like the history of like the digital marketing world to like where it was when the book was written. I
Click
was
here to
almost thinking
order.
about
Click here to
what's that?
order. It was called
Yeah,
Click
click here
here
to
to
order.
order.
I actually have it on my bookshelf, but I was just drawing a
Get
blank.
out. That's
Ah,
funny. That's
But I
funny.
was thinking of like that kind of idea, but for the AI space of almost like sort of a retelling of the story of AI. I just got to figure out at what point do I feel it's right to tell this story because it's at a point where like the history makes the most sense.
You know what? Let's have this conversation offline. I've got the publisher for you, and I can help make this happen for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. That is something that I've thought about doing because that is one way I see the YouTube channel is, a lot of people ask, okay, you're making news videos. There's not a lot of longevity to that, but I almost see the YouTube channel as like this time capsule of AI. You can go back to this channel 2 years from now and see at any date, like here's what was going on in the AI world at that time. And so a book would probably follow that sort of same logic.
Here's the beautiful thing about answering the question of when to do it immediately, because one of the things that most authors don't have is the hook to build the relationship with the reader and keep them coming back. Yours is built in. You want to know what's next, you have to come here to the site to keep getting your updates.
That's true.
This
Yeah.
is where your future chapters are all at.
It's true. And actually, you could do something with like a book.io, like with what I'm doing with the project, and release it a chapter at a time, right? It doesn't, you don't have to release the whole book anymore. And this is the first time that it's been done through that platform and actually as an NFT, as a book by the chapter, which is a really fun, unique kind of a thing to do. I was like, dude, Charles Dickens did this back in the day and nobody else has released a book by the chapter. And it's like, as you sort of, finish up one and go, all right, I'm done with this one. You don't have to wait 6 months until the whole book is done. You're like, boom, you drop that and you build that community out as you go. Now, this is bad crypto, by the way. And so I want to tap into your brain, because one of the things that Joel and I have been thinking about and talking about is, dude, AI plus some crypto related projects. There's going to be a couple of them that just go stratospheric, sort of boom, like. And I look at it and I go, is it Twin Protocol? Because they're doing the digital twin stuff. And I've been chatting with those guys. They're doing some cool stuff. There's some other potential AI and crypto things. Like, what are some of the things, or maybe how is it that you're looking at it that maybe other people can do their own research to maybe find something that's AI and crypto related for them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about what's going on with the crossover of AI in crypto, but I do know that there is there's a need for that sort of I'm drawing a blank on the term, but like people are creating a lot of really, really cool stuff with AI, but they need to be able to put it on the blockchain to sort of verify the ownership of it. And so I think there is a need for the sort of crossover of blockchain and AI for creators in the very least, where you create stuff and then you put it on the blockchain. I know Midjourney, right, the very popular art tool, when they first started launching Midjourney, one of the things that they did when they first started was almost like every piece of art that they were generating, they were putting it on OpenSea for people to purchase early art that was made from Midjourney. So you can actually get on OpenSea and find some of the earliest stuff that Midjourney ever generated. And
internally, they were working on it internally, and then they said, "Hey, we did that." Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, Midjourney themselves, the founder is David Holtz. He was basically running like an OpenSea account where he was taking some of the first art to ever come out of Midjourney and put it on there. So I do think there's some need for that. Also, coming back to the gaming space, I felt like for the longest time that blockchain and gaming were just like this match made in heaven. I still believe that. I think that having digital asset ownership for games is really, really a great use case. Like for all of the use cases of blockchain, I still think gaming is one of the easiest to grasp, one of the easiest to understand. If you earn an item in a game that took you 100 hours to earn that item, put it on the blockchain and then let me like resell that item to somebody else if I want to, or let me hang it in my metaverse bedroom so other people can see it. I really think that gaming crossover is there. And there's platforms out there like Ready Player Me that allow you to create your own avatar for the metaverse that's your own lookalike that you can then mint on the blockchain, so it's yours, it's only you. So that's sort of where my head tends to go when it comes to blockchain. I think the stuff that I've sort of soured to over the years when it comes to crypto is the very sort of like financial quick riches, make a lot of money really fast by buying and selling coins. A lot of that kind of narrative, I used to be a lot more into it. I used to trade a lot of coins. I used to do a lot of stuff with the DeFi world, and I got burnt on so many different projects in the DeFi world that a lot of that stuff I've sort of soured to over the years, but I still see that crossover of like gaming and blockchain being like just that perfect marriage, in my opinion.
You're completely right. We've got multiple things happening in the gaming space. We're definitely not giving up. A lot of people have given up, especially during the bear market. And my son, Zach with Draco Dice, he has persisted, and we are so close to releasing the game that he promised. He refused to stop because he promised people who bought these NFTs that they were going to get these games. And so, we're working on that. We're working on the blockchain heroes game. And imagine this, Matt, the time and the future where you earn this item in a game, and whether it's through a platform that it can cross over to other games, or whether it's through the manufacturer, that sword that you earned in game A can also, you have the NFT that automatically triggers it to be able to be used in game B, C, D, E, and ad infinitum. So now if you get done playing a game or they retire that game, that item that you have lives on. And that's
Yeah.
value. And that is going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Take your
Or even
master
that
sword
sort
from
of-
Zelda over somewhere else. Be like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go kill something over here.
Or even that sort of like crossover collaboration where maybe it's not that sword, but anybody who owns this sword gets X special item in this game, right? Where it can look at your wallet and see, oh, you have that sword. Well, because you have that sword, you now get this item in this game, right? So I can verify that you have that thing and give you this thing. So not only just being able to bring that item over, but the sort of verification that you own this item so that you can get this item in this game.
Dude, that's like marketing. That's like a great sort of a PR thing. It's like, dude, I know that this guy over here spent 100 hours to get this particular item. This is a power user that we want on our platform.
Yep.
And so finding a way to sort of cross-pollinate that, it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. Yep.
For sure. Well, hey, Matt, we really appreciate you coming in and taking your time with us today. The website, Matt Wolfe with an E on the end, .com is where you want to go. And of course, ChatGPT has given us all kinds of great titles for him. Matt Wolfe, the ineffable oracle of technological delights, sovereign of AI's vast dominion, and sultan of innovation's magnificence. That's you, Matt. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been so much fun. Love the show.
A whole new world, a whole new life. Da, da, da. AI is blowing up, and I don't know what the fuck.
What do you do? Why?
It's a whole new world, man. The world has changed so
The
much for
world
this. Dude,
is
like
changing.
literally when we started Bad Crypto 6 years ago, bro, seriously, and we're going, okay, crypto is the new, and then like, look at where we are now. Can you even imagine 6 years from now, like where things are going to be? Like it's mind boggling to me.
Yeah, Matt was great. Really fun talking to him, and I am in conversation with Dan Mapes to get him from Versus. Like, dudes, once he comes on the show, he is going to blow our minds. He provides so much depth in where the technology is going, and more than that, he is so optimistic about the future because of the technology that they've built. And when you're not going to be able to come away from this interview and not feel optimistic. So that's coming soon. I just messaged him again and hoping that he'll schedule something with us shortly. Meanwhile, we promised you guys an NFT. As we speak, Matt Wolfe is working on something unique that we are going to deliver to you guys through the Bad Crypto network at badcrypto.uncut.fm. And the NFT, if you already hold a Bad Crypto Nifty Club membership card, like you see here on the screen, that's spinny, you're going to get this as an airdrop for free. And we're going to do that a few days after this episode releases. If you don't have one of these and you want to go to badcrypto.uncut.fm or uncut.network, they're both lead to the same place now, and pick one of these up for the bargain basement price of 0.002 ETH, which translates currently to $3.47. And then you'll be in the community with 643 other members. And this is going to be a cool NFT because Matt himself is going to create it, and he does badass stuff.
Yeah. So there's some people who are in the Bad Crypto podcast, the Bad Nifty Club, and there was the Bad AI one that we done. So there's a bunch of people that's in the community, but this one is right here is the one that you want because you can't actually get the Bad AI one because it's not for sales. Nobody.
You weren't bad enough. But you know, if you enjoyed going down the AI rabbit hole, then do check out the other podcasts, badai.show, or just go to, iTunes or Google Play or Spotify. Just look for the Bad AI Show and you'll see our faces, and go subscribe and follow. That means a lot to us when you do that. We of course love reviews, especially if they're of the 5-star breed. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode of the show. Anything else, Sir Lord Travis?
No, you're going to make sure that it's ours because it'll have that sort of Mr. Beast. Have you ever noticed every one of Mr. Beast thumbnails is like, So we're like wide open, happy, excited. It's great to be back, folks. We appreciate you. Make sure that if you want to communicate with us, there's a lot of different places you can do it. badcryptopodcast@gmail.com. You can even send us a phone call at that number. I don't even remember the number. It's been so long since I've said
I know the number.
030
That number is 708-885-9030. 708-885-9030. Our AI answer bot is standing by for you 24/7, 365, 366 in leap years.
Yeah. And you know what? We're coming up on episode 700. So maybe we make that another fun audience episode where you call in, leave a message. If you didn't get the number, just rewind it. There's a little button on your thing. You can rewind it about 30 seconds and hear the number again, write it down, and give us a call. Let us know what you think. Tell us how great we are, or how bad we are, or whatever, or who you want us to talk to, or how we've impacted you, whatever. We'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for everything. And until next time, Joel,
Stay back.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.